On a quiet morning in Istanbul, before the streets fill with the rush of traffic, a cat moves quietly through the courtyard of a mosque. Two cats sit by the window of a house, watching the world outside, as if it already belongs to them. And perhaps in a way, it does. Istanbul is one of the few metropolises in the world where street cats are not only tolerated, but embraced. They wander through cafes and courtyards, curl up on car roofs, even nap inside bookstores. Fishmongers leave scraps for them at the market. Students pause to scratch their ears on the way to class. And across the city, bowls of food and water appear at street corners, placed not by officials, but by ordinary residents. To live in Istanbul is to share life with thousands of cats. They are part of the city's rhythm, as integral as the ferry horns across the Bosphorus or the call to prayer echoing from minarets. This relationship is not new. In Islam, kindness to animals is not a choice, but a duty. Prophetic traditions speak of mercy even toward the smallest creatures and warn against cruelty. Cats in particular were considered ritually clean, even believed to carry barakah, which is blessing. They could freely enter homes and even mosques, including the Great Mosque in Mecca. Food they touched remained permissible to eat, and water they drank from could still be used for ritual ablution. One of the Prophet's companions, Abu Huraira, literally known as the father of kittens, was known for carrying cats with him at all times. His name itself became a symbol of affection toward these animals, setting an example that lived on through centuries. Guided by these teachings, Ottoman society built structures around animal welfare. Imperial edicts forbade cruelty, overloading donkeys, or denying animals food and water. Butchers were tasked with feeding strays with leftover meat. Hospitals were established for sick or injured animals. Birdhouses, known as evleri, were carved into the walls of mosques and mansions, so even sparrows had a home. Charitable endowments, or vakfs, were founded specifically to feed street animals. Men known as mancı cooked food for cats and dogs, distributing it outside mosques and in public squares. Foreign travelers to 19th century Istanbul wrote with astonishment about dog shelters, blankets laid out for strays in winter, and even pregnant animals being cared for by ordinary citizens. To the Ottomans, this was simply normal life. To outsiders, it was astonishing. The contrast with Europe makes this heritage even more striking. In the Middle Ages, cats were often linked with witchcraft. Under Pope Gregory, they were slaughtered en masse, sometimes burned or buried alongside women accused of sorcery. This fear reached such extremes that when the plague swept across Europe, the absence of cats, the natural hunters of disease, carrying rats, only worsened the catastrophe. Meanwhile, in the Muslim world, cats were nurtured with compassion, where in Europe, they symbolized fear. Even today, you see traces of that heritage. A cat sprawled confidently on a tram seat at a bus stop. Another waits among commuters. From the window of a house, several cats gaze out at the street below, as if watching over their share of the city. From a cafe rooftop, a cat claims the best seat in the house, gazing over the skyline. By the seaside, cats fix their eyes on fishermen, as if waiting for their share of the catch. On a park bench, people sit quietly, surrounded by cats that have made themselves at home. In the courtyard of a mosque, two women kneel down to pet the cats resting on the ground. And when hands reach out like this, you realize these cats are not starving for affection. They're already loved, woven into the daily gestures of the city. Sometimes they quarrel, 2 or 3 cats locked in a playful fight, their voices echoing through the alleys. Nor are they alone. Dogs lie peacefully in the sun. Pigeons and seagulls sweep across the sky. In Üsküdar, municipalities even build small wooden shelters for cats, modern echoes of a much older tradition. And the people, they don't just allow it, they expect it. In Istanbul, animals are not outsiders, they're woven into the everyday life of the city. What does it mean for a city to welcome animals, not for their usefulness, but out of compassion? In a world where urban spaces are increasingly designed for efficiency, Istanbul feels different. Cats soften its edges. Birdhouses remind us of a time when even architecture made room for the smallest creatures. Perhaps that's why Istanbul feels alive in a way that few other cities do. Here, coexistence is not an abstract idea. It is lived daily. To share space with cats, with dogs, with birds, is to accept that the city does not only belong to us. So next time you walk through Istanbul, don't just look up at Hagia Sophia's dome or the grand silhouette of the Blue Mosque. Look down into the eyes of a cat resting in the sun, or look up at the tiny bird palaces carved into stone walls. In their quiet presence, you may catch a reflection of Istanbul itself, independent, layered, mysterious, and endlessly resilient. Because to understand this city, you don't only study its history or its monuments, you follow its animals, and they will lead you straight to the heart of Istanbul.